earlier today we talked about how the Rockets were kind of in trouble considering the fact that James Harden um, is likely to be traded now that he has requested a trade. Um, it's still uncertain that where the Rockets are headed and what situations they've probably brought up to the Nets or the 76ers or whatever. But the point is, uncertain right now in which direction the Rockets are heading. So we're going to kind of be talking about today or right now in this on this stream. I'm going to be talking about my predictions. I'm going to have a guest or two on the stream to give me their analysis and give y'all their analysis as well. But anyways, as of right now, we don't know anything. James Harden is still standing by his decision to request to be traded. His top destinations are the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers. So earlier today, we saw the James Harden's loyalty to the Rockets has kind of become a bit hollow, considering that he wants out of Houston now. He's not a huge fan of the Rockets' play style, and he's not a big fan of the direction they're heading in. He wants a ring, and it seems like he's trying to head to a team who he thinks will give him a quick route to the ring. But we're also going to be talking about if he is traded to either of these teams, do we think that those teams can pull it off? Will they pull off a Harden, whomever swap? So we're going to kind of start out with the Nets, and then we'll work our way over to the Sixers. I'm just going to kind of give you all my quick thesis here. I don't see a Nets Harden trade working, and the reason being because you look at the Nets, right, and they have Kyrie Irving and they have Kevin Durant, two great players. Now, the problem with acquiring James Harden is if you had KD and Harden, all three of those guys would want the ball as much as they can get it. Kyrie Irving, scorer. Kevin Durant is a great scorer, and James Harden's a great scorer. These are three of the greatest scorers in the league right now, and they're going to want the ball as much as possible. But sharing that between three guys is not going to be easy. And trading for James Harden would mean losing all of your other assets. Yeah, you may have three guys that you can say, okay, we're a contender. Yeah, it can make you a contender, but at the same time, when they go to the bench, who comes in? Who matches up with the Lakers if y'all are up by 8 and y'all decide to rest Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving? It's kind of just the fact that getting James Harden, if the Nets got James Harden, they kind of start to lean toward dysfunctionality. I don't know if the term for it. Sometimes I just make up terms. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. But the Rockets are obviously a very dysfunctional team. James Harden has some things he needs to work on personality-wise. And I think that's why some teammates are a bit frustrated with how they're being treated by the team. But I mean, James Harden requesting a trade, that shocked me. I'm not happy about it. I don't want him to get traded. If it's got to happen, it's got to happen. So to the Nets, I mean, that's just plain. That's plainly it. I don't really have much to say about that Nets trade, and I don't like what everyone is preferring we trade him for. I don't think people understand who James Harden is. People think that James Harden is a good scorer and that's it. They think no more of him. They don't consider the fact that he's been in the MVP race the last 5 years. Every year, he almost won it twice in a row this year, and he finished second behind Russell Westbrook and Steph 2 years. So people have underestimated Harden, and I'm not saying that Rockets fans have underestimated Harden. A lot of NBA fans have underestimated Harden, and they don't think that he's quite worth what he should be. Don't think that he's quite worth what he should be. So people are preferring that the Rockets trade him to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan, and a few other bench players. I don't like that because that reminds me too much of the Chris Paul trade. And as much as that trade helped the Rockets, after that, it kind of starts to go downhill because in 2019, they don't get very far in the playoffs. And then 2020, Chris Paul's gone already. So getting a 7-to-1 player swap, that's a big difference. And the Rockets are probably going to trash some of those guys that they get from the Harden trade. So, and I mean, there's no pressure on the Rockets right now. They don't have to trade Harden. They have the decision to keep Harden. It's their decision. Just because a player says, I want out, does not mean the team has to trade him. Just like Russell Westbrook. The team doesn't have to trade Russell Westbrook if they don't want to. And I don't think this team wants to trade any of those guys. They already said. But I think they do want to, at the same time, they do want to kind of listen to them, listen to their opinions, and hopefully maybe trading them through, better understanding. It's just going to be hard because James Harden he's an icon to the NBA. He's a very hated player around the NBA for some reason. I don't know why, but he's an NBA icon. Without a doubt, the greatest scorer of all time. Maybe not the most efficient scorer, but he is the greatest scorer of all time. There's a difference there. Efficiency, James Harden shots than a lot of people in the NBA. Now, sure, they might be more efficient, but they don't take as many shots. James Harden makes those shots look easy. He makes the tough shots look easy. Stephen Curry has a gift. He's obviously one of the greatest scorers of all time. But if I'm taking Harden or Curry, I'm taking Harden. And I say this all the time. I'm not saying this because I'm a Houston fan. And because the fact that I am a Houston fan and I'm saying this, it seems biased and it seems, you're just saying that because he's, your guy and, you want to defend him as much as possible. No, I'm not saying that. If I was anyone else around the league and I saw Harden's situation right now, I'd take him in an instant. I'd take him with the snap of my finger. Whatever it takes to get James Harden. But I think that James Harden, I think the reason these guys are requesting these trades is because they don't like that there's been front office changes. I don't think they really like the fact that the Rockets hired Steven Silas. I think James Harden and Russell Westbrook prefer Ty Lue as the coach, which, that's not the Rockets' fault. I mean, they had no control over that. They offered a loose, a contract, but he took the Clippers job. That's not the Rockets' fault. That's not the organization's fault. I I just don't. I don't think that they like that Morey left. I think they still wanted to play under Morey because Daryl Morey is a genius, and he can come up with some really good trades. And I could see the Sixers trading for Harden. I could see Harden if the Sixers offer something. I could see Harden encouraging the Rockets to accept the trade so that he could play under Daryl Morey. Another reason I also see him maybe going to the Nets is because Mike D'Antoni went there, and it seems that Mike D'Antoni and James Harden had a very good relationship. But Mike D'Antoni, we all knew this was Mike D'Antoni's last year as our coach. There was no doubt about it. The Rockets were not going to re-sign Mike D'Antoni as our coach for another year. It wasn't happening. We all knew it. James Harden must have known that. So what I'm now thinking about is, did James Harden have this planned? Was this planned? Did James Harden kind of have this all planned out? If Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni leave, I'm going to request a trade. Was this set up? Was this kind of – did he know about this for a while? Or was this just a decision that he made just now? I don't know. But – it's going to be very sad to see him go if he does go. Once again, Rockets don't have to trade them. It's not enforced. Although I think there would be some conflicts if the Rockets did keep both. So I think best case scenario for the Rockets, trade one of them, keep one of them. And that's the thing. The Rockets, I understand that if you trade Harden and Westbrook, it's like, it's basically rebuild mode. But that's the thing. The Rockets are not much of a rebuild team. They don't do it that much. I mean, they had a span of like 3 years where they weren't that good. Like 2009 through 2011. But then James Harden came, and they were back to being a contender. And for the last 8 years, that's what they've been. They've never won a championship in the past 8 years, but they've always been a contender. So the Rockets have never really been much of a rebuild team. And I don't think that they're interested in trading Harden or Westbrook. Now, I know that other teams are going to offer up a bunch. And maybe if Tillman Fertitta and Raphael Stone look at that deal and they say, okay, we'll consider it, that could be some good news. Like, I could see Harden going to the Sixers for Embiid. I think Westbrook and Embiid could make a good duo. We definitely need a big man, an efficient big man, not another Clint Capella. So that would be interesting. But a trade to the Nets, I'm sorry. A trade to the Nets has to involve either Kyrie or KD to me. Because that much, I'm not trading one of the best players in the NBA or an MVP candidate for a few bench players that mostly don't have a future or don't have a bright future. I'm not doing that. So if you're going to trade Westbrook, my suggestion is you either trade him to the Knicks or the Hornets. You get a first-round pick from the Knicks, 2 first-round picks from the Knicks, or you trade him to the Hornets and you get the number 3 pick in the draft. That is, if you're going to trade him to the Hornets, get that number 3 pick so that we may have a chance at maybe James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball. I don't know. I don't really know any of the big names in the draft this year, but it's, I just want, if we're going to trade Westbrook, I want us to get a good deal. I want us to get someone back pretty quickly. If you're going to trade James Harden, my destinations for him would probably be, I'd say I don't know if the Nets are eligible. I don't know if KD and Kyrie are eligible to be traded or not. But I have 2 suggestions for the Nets and 1 suggestion. You trade James Harden to the Nets for Kyrie Irving / Kevin Durant, one of them, and let's see, maybe a first round pick, second round, maybe first round pick, and a bench player. Or you do the whole, you get Levert, Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, and 2 first round picks from the Nets. Actually, no, not 2, 3 first round picks. And for the Sixers, I'm going to say trade Harden to the Sixers for Joel Embiid and a pick. I don't really care what round, just a pick. Now, I know that kind of seems far-fetched because trading for either Kevin Durant and Kyrie is probably better than trading for Embiid and then involving a first-round pick with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. I think it's just the fact that, the Nets are a little more stacked than the Sixers are, and you want to make the Nets lose more. I don't really know what I'm saying, but that's just what I see. That's just what comes to mind for me if you're going to trade James Harden. But we're going to think momentarily we might be having a guest on the channel for the first time in a long time. Last guest we had on the channel was my dad. That was over 3 years ago when our channel first started. But since then, it's really just been me. But we may have a guest on the channel. I'm still waiting if they will join or not. But we will continue on. So what does this mean for the Rockets if James Harden's traded? Well, it can mean one of two things. The Rockets are rebuilding or they're preparing for a big, they're getting all this money back. Like they're clearing up Harden and Westbrook's contracts, getting them out of there, and bringing in guys like guys they can sign. Anthony Davis. Maybe trade for, I don't know, Paul. I don't know. Just trading and signing these other big players to maybe replace Harden and Westbrook. I could see the Rockets actually getting Anthony Davis if they do trade Harden and Westbrook, because Anthony Davis doesn't seem to be very content with his contract offer from the Lakers. There's already been some big signings today. The Thunder dealt Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns. So the Suns are going to be definitely better next season. Who else? Thunder also traded Dennis Schroeder to the Los Angeles Lakers for Danny Green. The Thunder also got Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio from the Suns in that Chris Paul trade. And you think about it now, you think about that Westbrook trade, and you kind of think about whether the Rockets lost that trade or they won that trade still. And I have to say that they lost it because Westbrook did not play to my expectations. I thought, he had an off year, but, he'll come back this season. He'll recuperate. Now that just wasn't the case. He struggled horribly from 3. He was not a very efficient scorer and did not play. He played good defense, but not good enough. So all around, it was kind of a loss for the Rockets. I am going to update that. I was talking about that guest earlier. I am going to try to see where we are at with that. I don't know if y'all can hear me typing. Using my computer to type. I really need to get a computer for that. Anyways. It's going to be devastating if the Rockets the Rockets to trade Harden and Westbrook. I've said that many times already, but it's just gonna be sad because I kind of grew up. All these this generation of Houston fans have kind of grown up around a basketball team that's made it very close to the finals, or they've made it far in the playoffs. Maybe not as close to the finals as they were, but it was fun to watch James Harden, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Dwight, whomever it be, go at it like they did this year. And I'm proud to say that I am a Houston fan. Houston have got a drought going for them right now, though. Sports has just been on the down low the last year or so, but we're just gonna have to see how we can improve and how we can really come back and try to get us back on track where we were a few years back. So, I mean, what can I say? I was shocked this morning. I heard that Harden was, interested in maybe requesting a trade, but I never thought he'd actually do it. I actually thought to myself, I was like, James isn't that kind of guy. He's a loyal guy. He's going to stay here. I believe in him. I guess that wasn't the case. Because I was talking to one of my friends, and we were talking about, the rumors and everything and how Westbrook requested the trade. And, I said, I thought it was dumb that, they would do that and that they'd only been together for a year. But I never expected James Harden to go that route and go the same route as Westbrook. That was a huge shock to me. It's going to be hard if James Harden gets traded, and I'm going to be sad. All of Houston will be sad. This is like Bulls fans after losing MJ. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Bulls fans' world crumbled around them after MJ went to the Wizards. That must have been very painful. And that's what this is like for Houston, because this team's grown up around James Harden. It has revolved around James Harden. Just like the Lakers fans usually, Kobe Bryant, whomever it may be, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, y'all understand what I'm trying to say. It's sad. It's sad to see that happen. If it does happen, we don't know for sure. But I don't know. I'm still trying to kind of take this in a little bit. I kind of thought somehow that this could happen. I didn't think that James Harden would request a trade, but I could have seen maybe the Rockets trading Harden. I didn't think they would, but I could see it happening. I could see it as a possibility, but I didn't think that was going to happen. I don't know. It's shocking. And when I saw it, I was in complete shock because I knew that this was the start. This was the start of the downfall. The Rockets have so many problems that they have to work on and they have to fix. And if they don't, their chances at winning the finals are very slim. Are going to be very slim for a while. I keep saying this over the last year. I keep saying it. It just keeps getting worse for Houston sports. I've been saying this for a year. Ever since, this cheating scandal, I've been saying, this is getting worse and worse. The Astros are getting too much heat. The Texans are just embarrassing us. And, the Rockets are like crazy right now. But the fact that we're just losing guys and we're getting hate and facilities are being shut down and like it's insane. It's insane that this is happening. And I'm shocked that we're actually I'm shocked that we're actually on the verge of losing one of our main guys. I mean, James Harden is one of those guys that like little kids draw pictures of. I have a few pictures of James Harden at my house. I drew pictures of him. I drew pictures of him because I was a huge fan. I was a James Harden like expert. I knew all of his stats and everything. But now that he's going to leave, I just feel like I completely underestimate him, and I basically don't know him. I don't know you, James Harden. It's sad. It's going to be very sad when he leaves. And I'm saying when. I'm not going to say if. Because if the Rockets don't trade him this year or the next year, he's going to leave. He's not happy. So unless the Rockets fix their problems, James Harden is gone. And so is Russell Westbrook. But on the bright side, I mean, there's a big chance that the Rockets will say, you know what, no, we're not trading y'all right now. I'm sorry. We can't let y'all get y'all's way right now. Like, we're kind of in a crisis here. And that's where the Rockets are. This organization has a lot of problems that it has to deal with. The players aren't very happy with their contracts. The teammates aren't getting along. They have problems with each other. And now the trade holders of our front office. But I mean, I think a guy that the Rockets need to take into account here is Stephen Silas. We're talking about a genius, a basketball genius, the son of an NBA legend and a genius. I mean, he behind Rick Carlisle, he was the the puppeteer of the Mavericks season that led them to the playoffs and almost beating the Clippers in the first round. I don't think I expected the Mavericks to go to the playoffs this season. I expected them to maybe go to the playoffs the next few seasons, but not this season. Stephen Silas made that happen. I mean, it wasn't just him, but he was part of what made it happen. But the fact that, the Rockets he's already got so many responsibilities. He's already got so many problems he has to clear up and work on, and it's insane to put this much pressure on a guy when you just hired him. But I don't know. We're going to have to see how this goes. I am very I'm sad that this is going on with the Rockets. I always thought everything was okay. I thought we were going to always be a contender. And that's really what you think at my age. You think, my team is never going to do something like that where they all goes down the drain. It's always going to be fun to watch them try to get to the finals or at least get to the finals. I don't know. But this is what happens in sports. It has to happen sometimes because when teams see their chances fading, they say, okay, well, let's pack up our stuff and let's knock down the building. Let's rebuild. Let's rebuild what we've built already, and let's try again. We failed the level. We're going to try the second time. And that's devastating to Houston. The next few years are going to be full of a sour taste in your mouth. And it's not going to taste good at all. So I don't believe we are going to have that guest I was talking about on the stream. I thought we might, but I don't think we will. So I think I may leave it here. Just kind of wanted to come on here and tell you all my thoughts and my analysis to keep you all up to date. I will keep you all posted. I will keep. Let's hope for the best here. Let's hope if our two stars are traded, that we actually get a pretty decent deal out of it, and that we have a pretty bright future if we do. So that is going to end the stream, guys. Thank you for watching. If you did like the stream, go ahead and like it and subscribe to the channel. I want to try to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the year. So I do want to try to reach that goal. We've hit over 60 videos on the channel. It's weird to know that we've been doing this for 3 years now. But anyways, Houston Sports Fan Vlog is always here to keep you all up to date with sports news. So you know where to find me. Do you think that the Rockets will pull this out, or do you think that they will, keep their players? So, like, subscribe, comment. I will see you later, Rockets fans, Houston fans, sports fans. Go Rockets! Bye, guys.